So I read today that it was called, it was at Cape Canaveral, so go figure, right? That Kennedy Space Center. I mean,
No, you were at Kennedy Space Center.
yeah, the rocket lifted off the Kennedy Space Center.
Yes.
Okay, so the article I read today was wrong.
Yeah, yeah. No, the Pad 39 is Kennedy Space Center.
Okay, so we're off to a good start. Okay, so we're flying from LaGuardia to Orlando. A lot of people ask, how much planning did you do? We actually talked a lot about going. I talked to Stan. You were very helpful about how to shoot, how to shoot the rocket in the sky.
Most people were talking about going.
A lot of people were talking about going, and I'd never seen a launch before, so I just had to go. Just had to go, and I think I booked my ticket a week before. Maybe a little less, maybe the Wednesday before Monday. We left on Monday. I went with, let's see, I think it was in the afternoon with,
Antoine.
And so we decided to leave in the middle of the afternoon. We got there in the evening, rented a car. And so this is the overview thing. I think you've kind of seen this. This is Google Earth. And as we come in here, we were not 3.5 miles away. We were like 11.5 miles away. So this is the launch pad here, 39A, and we were over here. This is Titusville, Florida, and this is the next Brewer Bridge here. And this is a distance here, the bridge, because it's got a great view from up launch pad 39A. And we went and checked it out. And let's see, so there's 39A there. This is another map. This is from an older map, Saturn 5 thing. So,
go back to that map.
Yeah.
The 41 and 40 are the two pads that Falcon 9 uses.
Okay.
Launch Complex 41 and 40. So that's Cape Canaveral as you go south on the peninsula.
Right. Okay, cool. So we got there the night before the launch, basically just around sunset. And by the time we drove in from Orlando in our car, we got to Titusville at about, I guess maybe about 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. And we started looking around. Let me go back to these maps here. No, I have a large enough map to. Yeah, okay. So basically, we drove here. We checked out the bridge. We checked out this park in this area, and then we got on this road and drove this way until we couldn't go any farther. Because this is, I think, Kennedy Boulevard or something like that, and this is the next Brewer Parkway. This is Kennedy Parkway this way. And we were stopped by the police, local police who had a roadblock up, and they weren't letting anybody in the area. And so we got to chat with this cop who was really a sweetheart. And he said, well, a lot of people are trying to get in so they can get a spot on the beach. And so we thought, that's interesting. So he said that it's closed and won't be open till 6 in the morning. They open the beach at 6 in the morning. He said, oh, okay, so why don't, so what do you suggest? When should we get here if we want to do the beach? He says, if you get here at 5 a.m., it'll be good. 5 a.m., right? Okay, so fine. So we were figuring, so then we went to another recommendation of Stan's. We went to the Dixie Crossroads restaurant. They had the Cape Canaveral shrimp. And
That's a great place.
And proceeded to Google all the pictures we could from the beach of a launch to see what that was like. And every picture we saw, someone's head was in the way. Or there was a bunch of, swimmers, like this, or people walking around. We sort of decided we wanted to get more of a clean shot. So we decided, okay, it'd be nice to be close. That'd be really cool. But we knew we were going to get a really clean shot if we stuck with the bridge. So we did that. Okay, so
the bridge is elevated. Too.
Bridge is elevated, yeah. So this is what we the night before we drove up. We went to the middle of the bridge and took this shot, and that's what it looked like. And of course, it's way far off in the distance. But that's with Antoine's 819 millimeter focal length telescope that he was going to shoot from. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. Probably, actually, when I think about it, no, he didn't have that scope up. It would have been a longer lens. I mean, not that long, maybe 200 or something, and he cropped it. Anyway, so we were right smack in the middle. And we're going to zoom in here. Google Maps, thank you. And this is our little spot here that, you know, they're trying to make 3D out of the flat thing here. But that's the Google Map image of it, not our weather. We didn't have that kind of weather. But this is we annexed this little spot here. And it's right smack in the middle of the bridge. It's like a 3,200-foot bridge. And we were like 80 feet over the water there. This is the Intercoastal Waterway here. This area is called the Indian River. And so that's where we decided to set up. It was perfect for photography.
That's a great spot because it's off the path a little bit.
It's off the path, right? You have people running into you. And it's not a real wide path. It's, you know, it's probably from about here to the wall. You know, probably about 6 feet or 5 feet wide.
How did you get out there?
We rented a car, and since there were two of us, we did this kind of things buying drive up, you know, pulling over on the wrong side of the road, unloading all our stuff,
Okay.
and then Antoine sped off into the dark night and came back. Very dramatic. So then the next thing was, where's the sun going to come up? And so from where we were, the sun was about 114 degrees magnetic, which goes right by the DLA, what's it called? The Vehicle 70, VAB, and launch at 40 or launch center 40 or whatever. And so we thought that would be a cool shot. And so, and this is right, so there's the Vehicle Assembly building, and here's launch pad 40. And there's where we were set up. This is Antoine's rig. There's the sun coming up. There's my rig. And that's the sun coming up. And so that's the building, and that's launch pad 40. It's just to the right of launch pad 40. And meanwhile, below us in the river, this is the pre-launch breakfast for dolphins and cormorants. So I was watching the cormorants are all scurrying around after this dolphin, because every time the dolphin goes down, there's bits of fish and stuff come up, and they all go in. So it's quite a little dance they do. And I could have just, you know, sat there for 3 hours just shooting for the guys. It was so interesting. And so that's a shot from our perch on the hazy launch pad just before sunup. So I was shooting with the Sony A7R2, the camera 15600 C2 lens. I was using a medium size photo tripod. I think of them as small, medium. I'm sure they have a larger one. With a fluid video head, which is really handy for the launch because it's real smooth to track it with. I also have the Sony A7S with the 2870 lens and the small man photo tripod with a ball head, which turns out to have been a real mistake because the mistake was the small man photo tripod, and you'll see why in a little bit. Then I had all the usual stuff, the intervalometer and all my chargers and batteries, and I took an AM/FM radio to see if we could listen to the launch, and laptops, you know, for just basically communicating, things like that. Tripod's still very important. And headlamp, because we use that at night, you know, before the launch. And a variety of clothes, you know, so I could, you know, be in Florida and be in the winter in New York.
Any mosquitoes?
No mosquitoes, no bugs at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But I will say that I did take insect spray.
Yeah.
I took a bottle of Cutter like that, and the TSA flagged me and stopped me because they had a bottle of liquid that was too big. And they swabbed the whole thing and the whole thing. And no cavity search, don't worry about that. But they really just went over everything. So the 2.3 ounces, that's the upper limit of the liquid you can take. So when we got to after we did our night checkout, we went after we ate, we went to CVS and got water for the next day. And I went around to find the teeniest little bug spray and the teeniest little sunblock thing I could find, so I could fly back with it. But anyway, so this is a sailboat going underneath the bridge, and you can see the cormorants are busy up here. Okay, now here's the mistake with the tripod, Anybody want to guess what the problem's going to be with this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They're
Yeah.
not gonna clear
You
that.
got a rail here that's 5 feet and change probably. And so I tried to shoot in between here, but it just really didn't work out. And so that was kind of that kind of bombed. I got some shots, but nothing I was really excited about. So this is, so that's my camera. This is, this is, this is his, it's 130 millimeter aperture.
You said around 800. No,
Yeah,
focal.
819 millimeter focal. So Antoine was all set with and another cool thing he did, I think we're going to bring this up a little bit, but you can't see it here because we're just still setting up. It's still morning. You see how long the shadows are. But he's got clamps on this very big carbon fiber tripod that he clamps cameras to.
Yeah, those are my clamps.
Oh, they're your clamps. Okay, cool.
I said you're gonna need these clamps.
Oh, man. Well, that's, yeah. Well, you know, it's like they say in Jaws, you're going to need a bigger boat. I felt like I needed a bigger tripod big time. And this was just barely adequate, frankly. And, but it did the trick. And there we are, the happy couple. AAA well represented. Now, one thing that was really interesting is, as you were saying, there were a lot of interesting people from all over the place. This gal is from France. Her buddy, her boyfriend, is from Holland. But this guy, this is 10:30 a.m., so this is well before the launch. And this guy here took up a spot right next to us and just kind of perched there. He was there the whole day. And we got to talking with him. And it turns out he is a rocket inspector for, what is the name of the
Oh,
company?
it was ULA, right?
ULA, right.
United Launch Alliance.
United Launch Alliance. So this guy, he said, I have the best job. I don't have to do anything. I just inspect it and tell people what to do. But he knew everything that was going on. He was giving us the play-by-play on everything. And this is at 10:30. You can see there are people starting to come in here. But by the time it was 1 o'clock, the place was packed, just cheek by jowl. People were jammed in.
Close the bridge too?
I didn't close it. That's an active bridge, and that's the only bridge that'll get you, right to the beach. And so, and by the way, probably the biggest downside of being on this bridge, because there were like a couple of miles of traffic just stopped behind us by like 6, 7 in the morning, and and they're all idling there, and you're just smelling the exhaust all day long. I mean, it's one thing for an hour or something, but this is like 11 hours of inhaling exhaust. I mean, it got to me anyway. So that was the downside, one of the downsides. Anyway, this guy was great, and some other people came up. And one guy had an Android app with some sort of Android phone with some sort of app on it that was really plugged into getting pretty accurate, timely reports about what was going on with the launch. And so he would say, this is what the thing is reading. And then this guy's Louis from the ULA, he would interpret what was going on. And Stahly, you were very helpful because you were texting us stuff, texting us information you were getting. I had my sister, she was watching it on launch on TV in New Jersey, and my wife is at work, she was watching it on the computer. And the thing, one of the things that was interesting is this, you can't see the other photographer, but there's a guy here, a local guy, and he said, he's photographed a lot of launches, he says what happens is that all the people come, the internet just gets choked up and nobody can get in or out. So if you're trying to get data, forget it. So this one guy with this app that was working, must have been lucky because he got connected and didn't break the connection. He was in. But we did get texts, and we were able to get phone calls too. But the texts were the most important thing. Louis here also recommended the local FM PBS station that was going to carry the launch. And so I had my headphones on and listened to that too. I think Antoine was getting some texting from a friend of his at the time. So anyway, there's the liftoff from where we were. And I'll just go through these real quickly.
The sky looked pretty clear.
Yeah, the sky was pretty clear. You can see there were some clouds. Now, one of the problems, if you recall, it was wind shear they talked about.
Yeah, upper level.
Upper level wind shear. Now, I thought this is an interesting thing. So they set up a lot of balloons. The earliest the window would open was 2:30. The launch was at, I think, 3:45.
Yeah,
Right up against the window. And the reason for the wind shear problem is Louis was saying that they fly through a box, in the sky, and if they get out of the box, he says the rockets don't have wings; they just have nozzles, so they can make a certain amount of correction, but not crazy corrections. And so if they think there's too much wind shear, they could throw them out of the box. They have to blow up the rocket through the top floor, which would be bad.
Yeah. Real bad.
Yeah, real bad. So they want to make sure there's wind shear is under control before they shoot this thing up through there, so it stays on course. That's the most important thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, so more about that in a little bit. So yeah, so we get the profile. We're getting the side of the rocket as it lifts up, and then it rolls, so it can go downrange, which would be away from us. We were looking east, due east, almost 114, about 100 degrees or something like that, due east. And so it starts up at the side, then rolled over, and now we're seeing the top of the rocket, if you will, and all three cores, as they say. And on it goes. Now, one of the tricks that Stan gave me actually some time ago, which he reminded me of again for this shoot, was how do you keep the flame from blowing out your shot, right? If you're an automatic, it's going to see this big flame. It's going to shut down your the amount of light that's coming in. And so Stan had this great idea that he imparted to me, which is use the blue sky as your gray card. So you point your camera up at the sky, and you watch your exposure meter. Is it over or is it under? And you get it right in the middle, so it's even. And then you lock it in manual. So now, when this thing goes up, you're still going to have that colored sky, and the flame will blow out. Of course, it is the flame, right? It's like you get a picture of the sun almost. But you're going to get the rocket exposure good, and you're going to get the sky exposure good. And so that's what we did here. I shot everything in manual, even focus. I focused on the VAB, and then locked that off into manual and kept it that way for most of the launch. And so anyway, there we go. Now this is where we're just looking right down the ass of this rocket. It's headed downrange, and then the boosters come out, and I wasn't even sure I had it in frame. I just was kind of trying to keep it. I was looking through the viewfinder the whole time, just squinting through this little thing, and it wasn't until I got into some post I saw there's the rocket, and there's the boosters, boom, boom, coming off. And I thought, wow, I had no idea I got that, and so I'm real happy I did. And then here they come down, and it was like watching two meteors. And it was just an amazing thing. So we're standing on the bridge, and it's packed with people, and the rocket goes up, and everybody, yeah, yeah, and there goes the rocket, and then everybody kind of stops, and they're waiting, and they're looking, and the thing goes out of sight. And then suddenly someone says, there it is! And everyone goes, yeah! And so the place went crazy, and we see these two meteors coming back there.
You saw it visually first.
I saw it visually first. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when it went out of sight, and I was sure I couldn't see it anymore, I went back to the VAB and refocused on it just to make sure I didn't, I was still good, so I could look for it and without worrying about focus, because you don't want to be trying to focus on that.
No.
It's not going to work. So anyway, here they come, and this is Antoine's closer up shot with his 819 millimeter focal length. And here they come down, and it was just amazing. And then 10 yards in a cloud of dust, boom. And I bet you it was, I don't know how many, it seemed like it was 20 seconds before we heard the boom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was 8 seconds for you, right? So like 8. So I don't know, we were we were 4 times the distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably longer. And Louis, the rocket guy behind us, just kept yelling, "Where's the boom? Where's the boom?" And it wasn't that loud. It was just kind of a boom, boom. And so I was disappointed in the sound part of the experience. I really wanted to get my head blown off. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then I saw this on the internet, so it must be true. Okay, did you send me this one? Okay, well now I know where I got it, from the internet, from Stan. So obviously there's the VAB, there's the launch pad. Now I think someone said the Falcon 9 was, or the 2 rockets were landing down here. I also heard they were landing up here, by 40 or something like that. So I'm not sure which one's true. I tend to think it's down here.
Yeah,
because it was farther down from our angle, looking from the bridge. It had to have been, I don't know, maybe another 20 degrees south, versus where 40 is, which is almost in line with the VAB for us.
Because they were nowhere near them.
Right, exactly. So I think it was down here.
My friend does a lot of work there on the base, so he knows the layout of everything.
Okay, all right, well, so I agree with that. I think that sounds about right. Because if you go back and look, I mean, this is out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it.
Yeah, you're much pointed further to the south.
Yes, much further south. So I think that's probably the case. All right, and then this is the time lapse, which I don't know whether this will play on here or not. It's the movie's supposed to be in the PowerPoint. What do I do? Just click on it or see if it does it?
Yeah, see if that'll work. Otherwise, we could just go to
Yeah.
Yeah. See if that.
Not doing anything.
You got the file.
Yeah, I got I can play it when I'm done.
Okay.
The rest of the PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, 130 millimeters.
Yeah, it's 130 millimeter, 820, 819 focal length. So there's that happy couple again. We got it, and there's Stan's mount. I was really impressed with it. They really cool. But I think you have to have this big one to try to pull that off. Yeah, and also I think you have to. Well, I'm gonna get this in a second. There, I'll have to go to these. Yeah, those are clamps. Right there. And they're clamping onto the legs of the tripod clearly. And what he did, when you see his composite that he did, his time lapse, you'll see how that a little more clearly how that works. There we are. Aren't those the coolest sunglasses in the world? Back to LaGuardia. Okay, so conclusions, cons. Should have anticipated the bridge railing and the short tripod issue. Should have found a better way to shoot and see the launch. Because during the launch, I had my eye plastered into this eyepiece, and the electronic viewfinder. I'm going up like this, and at one point I looked over the top of the camera just to see the rocket, and I thought it had blown up. It was so bright. Like, oh shit! Oh, that's okay. And I kept shooting. But I mean, it's sort of like I missed it. You know what I'm saying? I was looking through this virtual screen. I should have photographed the crowd reaction in time lapse because I sort of missed that story. I could have done that with that camera. It was doing nothing. So I didn't think about that. Could have improved composition in some shots, photographed more wildlife on the bridge, lots of fun stuff going on below. I mean, we saw manatees go under us, dolphins, and then Osprey decided to put on a big show. He just kept flying right by us, and I was like, and I could have shot, kill all my batteries in the first 6 hours before the launch, just shooting like crazy. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. And I should have got my PSA pre-check number when I book by my computer on my desktop at home. I don't know how, it just knows my number. Maybe it finds my card, or I'm not sure what it does, but I never had to worry about it. I always just pre-check. But when I did it with my phone, it didn't get my pre-check number. I ended up in the line with the steaming hordes, and everybody else. So it took it forever to get through. Anyway, so folks, let that be a lesson. Get your pre-check number. Know what it is. Should have brought the redhead windscreen from my Zoom H4n audio recorder, which is this little guy here, because there's too much wind on the bridge for a standard windscreen.
Did you do any recording?
It recorded the whole thing, but it was just.
Can you hear a little bit?
You can hear the people a little bit. You can't hear the rock at all.
Oh, yeah. Would that have?
It's 12 miles away.
Right, but would that have helped?
Oh, it helped a lot, yeah. It's an outdoor windscreen for really a lot of wind. Glad I went. Conclusions. I'd go again. I'm really glad I went. The first launch I've ever seen in my life. I'm not a kid. This is a bucket list thing for me. I'm really glad about that. Glad we researched the shoot, talked to Stan, scouted the site, talked to the cops. They were very helpful. Got up early and tapped local knowledge. The guy from United Launch Alliance was terrific. There were a lot of good people. We talked to a lot of good people, not just him. I like Antoine's, tripod class. We just talked about that. In daylight, I can see. At night, you couldn't do it at night.
Yeah, I've done it.
Really?
Well, because the night launch,
Oh, for launch, I'm talking about doing Astro.
Oh, yeah. Well,
30-second exposure, 2 different cameras, unless you shoot simultaneously.
Oh, yeah. If you got two, it'd be hard if you're shooting during
Yeah.
because of the vibration.
Yeah, exactly. So, but other than that, I mean,
But the next launch,
oh,
I got more plans.
listen, man, you're my best friend now. Okay.
You go to Florida Grill?
Huh?
You go to Florida Grill?
Yeah, that was great. So Dixie Crossroads was great. You got to do that. That's where we had Cape Canaveral shrimp, rock shrimp, the whole thing.
Rock shrimp.
Yeah, the waitress, I said, how the hell do you eat these things? And she showed me how to eat them. It's really easy. Yeah.
What size did you get? You got the
We
large.
get the like a $50 meal or something ridiculous. Just some thing of like.
Did you have to wait long before you were served?
No, it was maybe 15 minutes.
That's good.
We got there like at 8 o'clock. I mean, they close at 9. I think we got there about an hour before they closed. So because we've been doing all this exploring, so it wasn't real busy. It was, not full. And the Florida Grill thing, that was a big kick. Antoine's really into finding the best place possible to eat.
That's the best seafood.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's the French chef. He's really into this whole thing. So I said, "What did you say, Antoine?" He says, "Yelp." And he says, "I look for the highest rated stars, the most stars, and I look for the most people going to it, and then I look at the food pictures, and those 3 things, those stars align that we're going."
Well, that was on the list I gave you.
Was it?
Florida Grill.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I was letting him take care of the food. I wasn't gonna get any flight money. Anyway, so what was great about this is the place is packed. We had to wait. We had a half an hour wait or something before we could get a table. So we went to the bar to get a drink. I got a black Manhattan, which I'd never had before, which is kind of interesting. And there's no place to sit at the bar because the place is packed. So I'm standing there, and people are all buzzing about the lunch. And I'm kind of banging into this guy at the bar, sitting at the thing. I'm going to start talking, and it turns out he's a real estate guy. He grabs me by the arm and he says, "This is a game changer. This launch is a game." I mean, everybody was into the launch wherever you went. I mean, it was just so cool. It was so cool. I think the reason is because, I don't know, it's something like America's back in the game. The biggest rocket in the world, we got it now. And it's private. So there you go. I don't know.
Well, the last shuttle launch was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And the whole, they call it the Space Coast, all that area along there. And after the shuttle program, there was a big depression there. So
Yeah,
this
I can
is
imagine.
getting people excited.
Yeah, I'll bet they are. Yeah. The guy from ULA, Louis, what a sweet guy. He said he was just astonished by the Tesla kids. He says they're all kids.
Yeah.
You run around, they're all like it's zits. He says they're running around. They're just these young people running around all over the place. He says it's amazing. He was just astonished by that. Just kind of fun.
you know, Elon Musk made it sound like he thought there was a 50-50 chance.
I know. Well, he was playing down. You know, that's what you're supposed to do, play down there.
So was there any sense of that among the people down there?
I think.
Like, well, it's likely to see it blow up.
I think mostly people were really wanted it to happen. I don't think they were hoping for an abort or an explosion. And you're right. Musk said stuff like, "As well, if it launches and it's successful or it explodes, it's still going to be a hell of a show." So just like everybody came in anyway to see what was going to happen. But I think the fact that they hit their launch window on the first day, because I'm not sure how many people would come back. I mean, we were there 11 hours waiting for the launch, all in from 5 to 4, and that's what I said. I don't think we can do this gig tomorrow. We're not getting paid for one thing, you know. But I think people were really into it. They really were excited about it. They wanted to see it go. People from all over the world were running around, and they were just really excited about it. So.
Just wanted to add to Maurice.
Yeah.
Hi. So actually, the reason why Elon Musk said it's a 50-50 chance is because they had never flown that code before. Because it has to support the weight of the side boosters,
Right.
And also the heaviest payload probably they have ever sent up.
Right.
I mean, not talking about the space shuttle. So they completely redesigned the center core, and they haven't tested it before. So that was the reason that it might even blow up the Fab39A, in which case it will be gone forever.
Yeah.
Because it's the most powerful one.
I'm a big Elon Musk Tesla SpaceX fan too, and I remember seeing an interview with him on YouTube saying that he thought initially it would just be like taking 3 Falcon 9s and strapping them together. What's the big deal? Turns out it's enormously more complicated than that. Way more complicated than so.
And also one of the reasons why the code didn't land properly is because 3 of the engines failed to ignite. So they still are figuring out how to work that correctly. But the side boosters were exactly like previous Falcon 9 missions. So they landed perfect.
Yeah. So so depending on your point of view, it was disappointing that you didn't get to see it blow up. Out of the sea, someplace. Right. Anyway, so I'm glad I traveled light, one backpack, one carry-on, as everything, and I learned a lot. So it was a lot of fun. All right, that's it. And now I have a movie to play somewhere. Stan, if you could help me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this will be good.
Yeah, this is a time lapse that Antoine did.
Is there any sound?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. So there's the rocket taking off, as you can see right there. Now, it's interesting, this little contrail here. Contrail. I have a theory about this that I want to try on people. Yeah.
About how high did it get in the sky from your point of view, from your vantage point?
Oops, what happened? Up in here someplace.
You
And then I head over. Yeah, I'm going to start over. I'm wondering if we're not seeing wind shear here. See what happens here? You get this L. It's like it first goes through. Now, why would this? Can we call it a contrail? Because we're not really seeing the white stuff until a certain point in the launch. I don't know whether it's the rocket fuel that's making that color, or if it's a difference in temperature that's making that color. I'm kind of thinking that there might be a strata here, you know. And what we're seeing is that wind shear they were worried about, and they probably decided it was acceptable.
Well, it looks like it goes through a cloud, but you're right. The contrail starts pretty high up.
Yeah, and then look at it move. The bottom part of it stays, and the upper part of it's moving. Yeah, it's wind. That's wind, but so what we're seeing is 2 different winds. We're seeing
Some sort of
one
wind
over here, another wind up here. And I'm wondering if that's I'm just curious. I'm not trying to say that I have an answer for that.
That's one.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the time lapse is using a fisheye or a wide angle lens here on the right side of the tripod, and you're watching this telescope follow it up, and you can just see mine over here, and you can barely make it out, but there's a crowd of people all the way down the bridge.
Oh yeah, a little bit on that left side.
And this is the VLA here, and the launch pad is, well, you can see where it was over here someplace. And they landed over here somewhere.
Yeah, so it was that south
It has to be that somewhere.
area.
Yeah.
Could you fly it one more time?
Sure.
Lift off. There it is.
Everybody see it?
It's funny how you don't really see the flame in the wide shot.
Well, when you think about it, relatively, the flame is it's probably no longer than a rocket, although it had to be a little longer than a rocket.
Looked like it was longer in your
Yeah,
picture.
actually, I think all you're seeing is the flame.
Yeah.
That trail looks not unlike two trails that I've seen in the 3 daylight launches that I attended. In one case, there was a bit of wind, and in the other case, not so much.
Not so much, yeah. It's just a guess, but I mean, it would be cool just for study purposes if you could see the contrail all the way, but that would give you. But I'm thinking that if they're releasing, I mean, what they did several times that day was they kept putting weather balloons up with telemetry to tell them about the wind shear. I don't know how they get that data. Maybe I don't know how it works. I'd like to know actually. But that just looks like it's going whoop and then those are technical things.
One thing that sort of surprised me is that unlike I was at the launch of the Solar Dynamics Observatory from the Saturn V Center, and
is that a Delta rocket?
yes,
yeah.
Actually, they tried to launch it twice, and the first time, what NASA does is at 4 minutes, they stop, they put the countdown on hold. I was a little surprised that they didn't do it here. And when they did that with the SDO launch, immediately when it came out of the hold, the launch was scrubbed because apparently it was a gust that set off
some alarms.
Yes.
Huh. Well, it's interesting. I find it, endlessly fascinating as just the public observer. I just think it's the coolest thing. I will say that we learned that you couldn't trust the broadcast we were listening to get the time, the countdown. It's 30 seconds, about 30 seconds behind. And because I was listening to it in my headphones, and Antoine was getting a text from his friend at time, and so we knew that it was close. It was real close, that they were counting down, and so we were just ready. We were just rolling, just ready to go. I had my 10 lamps was already shooting, and so we're watching. And as soon as we saw the smoke come out, we started shooting, and it was like 27, 26, and the thing was 21. Yeah, so I just took my headphones off and kept shooting.
The video, depending on which feed you were watching on the internet, they were different. The spaceflight now was probably closer to being accurate, and then there's another one that was off.
I was hearing all over the place that I think even the ULA guy said that he doesn't know why they do it, but they don't run it on time, they run it delay. even when they broadcast it back. So, but you couldn't see at the TV screen. And I bet you where you were, they were showing the real thing.
Yeah, they couldn't really see it, but they were letting us know, okay, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and they did the countdown.
Yeah, yeah. That's the way to do it. I wish we could have got that too.
I was watching spaceflightnow.com, that's when you were watching
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and I didn't know that maybe about 3 minutes before the countdown, they were telling you what was going on. Booster 1's lighting up, Booster 2's igniting, everything's fully blah, blah, blah. And then they said, at one point, okay, Falcon Heavy is now completely computerized. Like, there was no other human interaction. From there on in, it was doing everything on its own.
Right.
Oh, I thought there'd be like, people at the keyboard and doing something. It's on
Yeah.
its own now.
Yeah, well, actually, ULA guy was saying that, I guess when you put humans up in space, they use a lot more computers. I mean, like a launch like this might use 2 major computers. If you're putting humans in space, they're using like 6 computers. And they all have to agree, or nothing happens. So I can imagine with 6 separate computers, you could have issues. Even with 2, I think. But anyway, I was pretty impressed that they were able to get that off, and it looks pretty much flawless, except for the center core, not the couple of the rockets not lighting. Did they run out of fuel, Gowrie? You remember what the deal was?
That's what he said in the post conference, that all the trajectory was little bit off in the center core, and it lost all the fuel by the time it hit the entry, and it hit the water like around
300 miles an hour, which would be bad. Right.
And it damaged the side of the dome. So he's making a new dome.
Trump change.
Because they don't have parachutes in the booster, do they?
No, I think it was just like re-entry burn and finally.
Because the shuttle solid boosters had parachutes because they just dropped into the ocean.
Yeah, this was like.
I guess there's no backup parachute.
Right. And then for this one, they had fuel. With the shuttle, there was no fuel. It was super light.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense to put chutes on this thing. Wild guess.
I saw an interesting explanation of the balance, how these things are balanced, because rocket has to have proper balance, center of gravity and center of mass and all this kind of whatever it is, and it's sort of I think it's front heavy as it goes up, and then it's losing fuel as it goes, and the fuel is up in the front. Okay, so then it turns around and comes back. No, it comes back backwards. It comes back backwards, that's right. And so now the rocket motors are heavier than what the fuel is. So its balance is shifted from fore to aft, if you will. And that's why they have these little flip-up wings at the top cause drag, like on a dart, to help guide them coming down. And they obviously use jets too, because they're not always in the atmosphere. What do you call them? Those rockets they use through jets.
Yeah, those small rockets.
Yeah, so very small rockets. And so they come down, and then it puts out these little fins on the side as it comes down to help to create drag to keep the heavy part aligned. And then they use the rockets and the fins combination to guide it back. And I can imagine that's a tight window too, the box that you got to hit, but they are obviously hitting it pretty well. So I don't know. I just to see those 2 things coming down, I can honestly say I've never seen that before because I've never seen it before. I've never seen anything come down like that. So anyway, any other questions? Yeah.
So did you explore the plane in the beach?
Sorry, what?
Plane in the beach. I think it was north of the coast.
A mile in the beach. That was the beach part.
We didn't go over there. Did we explore it? Is that what you said?
No, I mean, did you keep it as an option?
Yeah, we did. I mentioned this earlier. I'm not sure you were here for that, but we went as far as we could towards the beach until we hit a roadblock, police roadblock, because the park was closed and wouldn't open until 6 a.m. the next morning. And so we talked with the cops, and they were real nice. And so we said, if we want to get it to the beach, when should we come? In the morning. He said, get here at 5 a.m. and you'll be, that'll be good enough for the opening. So we said, okay. So then we went and had dinner, and we Googled all the beach shots we could find where we might potentially be shooting from. And everybody, and almost every shot we saw, there was somebody standing in front of the photographer, or there were hordes of people in front of you, or standing around with their asses hanging out and stuff like that. And we think that's not the shot we want to get. We want to get a clean shot of the ascent, So this is the cleanest shot we could possibly get. So that's why we decided not to go to the beach. We thought this was a good spot, and it's a view, and next time we go, we'll do a different view. But we did look at that. We did think about that.
Is there other equipment you might take on the next one?
Well, yeah, another taller tripod for sure. Clamps, yeah, I got to borrow Stan's clamps. Although Stan will probably go, so he's going to keep his own clamps. Where do you get those clamps?
They're Bogan clamps for they're grips for you could put lighting equipment on it, but also you could do things like attach ball heads or these arms that hold equipment.
Is it a quarter-20?
Let's see. Well, there are two different ones. There's a quarter and then there's 3/8. So you could do different size balls if you have different size ball heads. They're real handy for short lenses or even short telephotos like a 780-200, because the camera lens itself is pretty light.
Right.
Is Dan? I think Dan left. Dan's not here, is he?
No.
Dan used a clamp and what's called a magic arm to secure his tripod to the fire escape for that picture that he took of M42. So the tripod wouldn't go flying over if there was like a gust of wind or something.
Yeah.
So you could put they're real handy. You find them a lot on movie sets with people, because you could attach things to the clamp,
right,
and then build your own things. And if you've got a ball head, it's great because you could put a fairly heavy camera on it. We would have a railing where we could actually put the clamp on the railing, but Antoine said the railing here was too thick, and you couldn't the clamp couldn't get wide enough.
Yeah.
And then you just put a wire tie down so your rig doesn't fall into the coastal waterway.
My only I was thinking about strapping my tripod to the rail.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, if this were thin,
yeah,
you could have put the clamp right there, but it sounded like it was too thick.
Well, the thing I would be concerned about with this railing, and even especially the fire escape, is they vibrate.
Well,
and,
except for the day launch.
Yeah, that's right. Right. If you're not, I keep you right. I'm thinking about long shutter speeds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, there was, you actually could have, there was some vertical things on that I saw.
You have to go back to the PowerPoint.
And you might have been able to clamp it to that, although it might have been.
Yeah.
Where's that shot of
the Google shot?
Well, this looks pretty thick too, right along there.
Yeah, almost the same.
Yeah, that would have been tough. Would have been tough to do. So
I'm wondering if there's some way to get it strapped. You could strap it. You've seen these ratchets, and rigging a little thing that sticks out of the camera. That wouldn't work.
Well, it would have to be pretty solid, because if there's any kind of movement on there, it's not that your picture will be blurry. It'll just you'll lose the composition. It doesn't look like there's much. Yeah, that looks pretty thick along there. So it'd be. I guess. I mean, the only real solution is a tall tripod.
Yeah. Right. Who's that? Let's see.
Oh, that was a nice
Yeah, this one here. There you can really see
one. Yeah.
what it's like. Anyway. Okay.
So, yeah, I have another question.
Oh, sure.
You were looking for your viewfinder and using that video head and able to track the rocket up there. So Antoine with a 800 millimeter focal length, was he able to track it?
Yeah. Well, that's actually a good question because
Where's his rig?
there it is right there.
Yeah.
So he had it so he could stand up. He judged the height, how far, so he could bend his knees. I was doing the same thing. But my tripod wouldn't get up much higher than that. So I just ended up squatting down more. But that's what we had to do. And that mount that he's using is pretty smooth too, I think. It's not, I think it's an all azimuth. It's not a ball mount. And I bought this terrific Manfrotto pan head, video pan head for this, to do this. And I'm so glad I got it because I love this thing. And it was real fluid and, easy to keep things in check. But the only thing I was thinking, I was considering doing, but I didn't, I just thought it had too many technical things, more stuff to go wrong. I was thinking about, I have a 7-inch screen I could have put on top of the camera with a bevel over it, the whole thing. And that might have been, in retrospect, I might have tried that because then I could actually kind of watch it and watch the launch and the viewfinder at the same time. So yeah. I suppose they have to fight me. Okay.
Thank you, Preston.
All right. Thank you.